Before I do that, I want to say something though. I think that Nintendo did a fantastic job of organizing the tournament, and from what I understand, was not a long period of time. This was something that was kind of decided upon, and they had to kind of throw something together fairly quickly. So, I think given the circumstances, I think it was actually a huge success of a tournament. I know people have a lot of things that they say, oh, this could have been done or that could have been done, which, yeah, that's true. And, keep in mind, they haven't done one of these tournaments for 25 years. And it's basically, it's almost kind of like the first time, because I'm sure the people that organized it 25 years ago might not even be around Nintendo anymore. And even if they were, it's like they probably don't remember the notes of like, well, if we do this again, we should probably do this instead. But I am going to talk about what I think are things that could be different in the tournament. And I think that the format in terms of how many players there were was good. I really liked that, the way they did it with having 16 players. I think that was a really good amount. Any more than that, I think it would have just been too many, and less than that, and then you're not having as many good participants. So as far as people getting invited, I think that it was definitely good that they had a mix of not just people that qualified, but also inviting some people as well. This ratio could potentially change in the future. I think there's certainly some things about it that could change. I guess some of the possible, I have notes, that's why I'm looking over here, guys, because there's a lot of things on my mind that I wanted to make sure I shared. And I think some of the possibilities for the future, the number one thing that I heard, and I agree with this, is that they want to have more of an international feel to it. So for instance, they could have invited maybe a player from Europe, or a player from Japan, or a player from Australia, or from Canada, or something like that, just to kind of get it into the field. Because I guess I heard one of the things I heard is like it's like the same thing with baseball. They say, well, it says it's the World Series of baseball, but it's not really the whole world that's competing. It's just America, which that was kind of the case here as well. But hey, I mean, that's the way it is. That's the way it is even in like major sports. So that's part of what happened here. But I think for the future, I think it would definitely be cool to give it more of an international feel, especially because of how global gaming is, more so now than ever. I mean, it's always been fairly global with availability of video games everywhere, but I think just the fact that, like, when you play Splatoon, like when I played, I was playing against Japanese players, because they had, like, the characters, the Japanese characters or whatever in their names. So you're competing against international opponents, so why not have international competition? I should scroll this down too so I can see what messages you guys are putting in. Hey Counts, thank you. Van Wedge brings up something that don't use team games to determine who moves on. This is something that I think is hard to avoid for the particular format that was chosen. And I think it actually worked out okay. And the reason being is that everybody kind of was in the same boat. So even though it was a team game of like the blast ball or whatever, like nobody had played blast ball, so everybody's kind of on even ground there. So it's not really like there's one advantage to one or the other of being on a team. It's kind of more the idea was, how can you adjust to this situation? How can you adjust in the moment? Dram55, what's up, man? Thank you so much, dude. I'm glad to see you in my chat. It's been a long time. Dram55 had a choice, as many of you had, for a player that could have been invited, which we're going to go over those later. He had a European player that he had suggested, and that player is going to be in the poll. So anyhow, I think the one thing I will say about the team aspect of it would be that in the future, it would be nice if... Oh, I came across young on the camera. Thank you, Dram. I appreciate that, man. Means a lot to this old guy. Yes, so as Moby is mentioning here, it was hard to tell who was on which team during Splatoon, or even when they were showing certain players in Splatoon. My understanding, because I didn't watch it, obviously I was playing, but I think feedback was typically that people didn't know who was even being shown in the Splatoon round. So yeah. So anyhow, moving right along, as far as the actual competition itself, there's something that I want to say, which is that I don't think that there is a perfect way in video games to determine a world champion. There is no perfect way, okay? Because there's so many games out there. There's so much diversity in terms of what kind of games are out there, what kind of gameplay is out there. I mean, it's just, you can't do it. I mean, in certain things, it's like, so like in the fighting game community, for instance, it's fair because it's like, you're not the world champion of fighting games, you're the world champion of, you know, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct or Marvel, whichever particular game that you're playing. So it's kind of, there's divisions, you know, it's like, whereas in this, it's not really possible to do that. So I think if they were wanting to make it more fair, per se, I guess it would be, there would need to be more regional qualifiers and things like that. Like what they did in 1990, I believe there was a lot more ability of the public to compete. People had much more opportunities in terms of locations where they could go to compete in this and qualifying, and I think there was just a higher level of participation back in 1990, and it wasn't there this time around in the same capacity. Thank you, Counts. What's up, Dr. J? So I think, you know, and going back to who's chosen, like the invitational people, I mean, obviously from a competitive standpoint, I was probably one of the worst choices, I would think, just for the fact, and I'm rating this against people chosen. I'm not saying of all the people that could have been chosen, but, you know, obviously I don't play the newer games. That put me in I don't even know, I had never touched a Wii U, things like that, which, you know, that puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. But it all worked out, though. So even with that kind of disadvantage, it still worked out okay. And I think that, you know, keeping that in mind, if they really wanted to, they could announce things in advance and then people could practice. Like, if they had announced all the games in advance, I think I would have had a much better showing. In enough advance, because that would allow me to practice. That would give a big edge to someone like me that, you know, I don't have an innate talent for video games. My talent for video games is being able to practice and become good and familiar with a game, you know? Like, I don't just pick up a game and naturally just, you know what to do. Some people have that. Some people, like I remember when I would play games with Mike Uyama, like, he would always, it would just be any game. He'd just pick it up and he'd start playing it, and he'd be like able to understand it immediately and play it well, and I'd be like, I don't even know what I'm doing, what's going on right now. So I think there's just that kind of innate thing as well for people. So some suggestions that I had heard that I'm going to share with you guys would be, obviously we already said more international players or more international competition, more regional tournaments. So like if there had been, I can't remember how many locations there were. I guess it was just 8 locations since there was 8 winners. Somebody also mentioned the possibility of a 2-day tournament, like sometimes like kind of what they do in fighting games where they have a bunch of stuff going on day 1 and then day 2 they do like the top 8 or something like that. That would have been another possible format change. Less surprises or more preparation time could also be a thing, but I think for what they were going for, this worked out perfectly, because I think what they were going for is they wanted it to be a surprise to everybody, competitors included, and they wanted it to just be exciting. And quite frankly, it was. Like, if let's say this, for instance, let's say that they had said, you know, we're gonna have you playing on, even if they had just told me we're gonna have you playing on a Wii U, then that's a piece of information that's big enough that it could provide an advantage to someone like me, where okay, I'm gonna go out and buy one, I'm gonna play on it, and I'm gonna get used to it and get familiar with it, and that changes things. But I think the surprise aspect was good because nobody really knew what was coming, and it leveled the playing field in some ways. And yes, also you have to realize, as Clean's mentioned, that Nintendo is a business, you guys. Like, they have to promote what they're doing. So part of this, even though it's a competition, part of this is they want to promote their new games and do well in what they're trying to do, which is to sell video games. That's the one of the main purposes of being a business. So there's that as well. But what I'd like to do now is I want to do let's see how many viewers we have, because I want to save the polls for when we get a little bit deeper into viewership. Let's see. We may just not get a bunch of viewers today, though, because it looks like we're still sitting under 200. So yeah, maybe I'll just do the polls now. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. So the first poll. Let me bring this up. I want to read a donation that Solid Frog made, actually, before we go forward. Solid Frog, actually, I think he must have tweeted the message to me, but Solid Frog had donated $40, and it more or less said, hey, basically, you and TMR go out, have some fun, eat a good meal. So much appreciation for that, Solid Frog. $40 donation. I greatly appreciate it. And I definitely had some good food on the trip. What's up, Chicago? Okay. Oops, I just realized something. Alright, first up we got the Europeans. Now just keep in mind, guys, this is strictly for fun. This has nothing to do with people actually getting selected or anything like that. I'm just trying to get feedback on what you guys would think. And we're going to leave that poll open for a little bit. So we've got Dexter, Cool Kid, Frezzy Man, and Other. And this is just strictly for Europeans. I'm breaking this down into very small groups. So far, Dexter is pretty far out in the lead with 32 to 14, And I think that the reason being is that a lot of you guys know who Dexter is. Obviously, you watch my stream, you probably watch his stream. Cool Kid obviously is somebody that does very well in first-person shooters and old school Nintendo games. There's Cassius. What's up, man? Week of Garfield. Get it in. Dexter's a beast. He's crushing this poll so far. So I think Dexter is going to be our first person to move on. It looks like I'll give it a minute to see if we end up getting any more. Golden, what's up, Golden? Hey, you got to invite me on that show of yours, man. Don't forget. Cool Kid is a god of #blind. That's pretty interesting to know, you guys. See, that's something you guys should be aware of. But this is just for fun, like I said, guys. So you know, we're doing this to see where things are. So for those of you that don't know who Frezzy Man is, because he only got 2 votes, which is pretty surprising to me. Frezzy Man is one of the original speedrunners that was considered a god gamer before that term probably even existed. And for those of you that picked other, I should tell you, because somebody just mentioned Captain Drake there. I know he's European, but he's going to be in one of the later polls. We'll sort that out in a little bit. You just show up and magic happens. I gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna declare Dexter the winner of this round. So Dexter is moving on. So let's go back and we're gonna make another poll. Whoops, I just realized. All right, next up we're gonna do Australia. Now I don't know enough about Australia, but there's you go. Let's see what we got moving on from this one. So far this one's pretty tight. Okay, so we got Mike 89 and Worcester, actually brothers. Mike 89, of course, was big time SDA runner back in the day. He's kind of tailed off a little since, you know, I don't know if he's engaged or married, but I know that he's definitely not speedrunning as much as he used to. And Elenijah, of course, is a god gamer, plays Mega Man 2, and I think he's doing Super Mario Brothers 3 at this point. Very good at that. And then, of course, you got Worcester, Pokemon, and Sonic, and some other stuff as well. And Withheld coming through with the info there. Worcester was apparently did blind games back in the day. Hey, thank you, Daddy Peanut. Appreciate that. So this is a close one. This is tight between Worcester and Elo. Not many votes for other. Nobody's really name dropped any other Aussie runners that I just didn't think of, which I'm sure there are. You have to forgive me, these polls are very limited because I don't have a great knowledge of all the different great speed gamers out there. I just know who I know. Alright, Elo's ahead by 1 vote. I'm going to call it pretty soon here. Just in case you didn't vote, Elo is only ahead by 1 vote, and I'm gonna go until if we get to 80 votes or another minute or so, and then I'm gonna call it for this one. Hi there, Zello. How you doing? All right, we got a tie between Worcester and Ello now. 2 more votes. Ello takes the lead. Ello takes the lead. How you doing, Saberhoff? So we're just doing some polls right now, guys. For those of you that are just joining in, of course, when we get to 80 votes, even 81 votes, it's tied. I'm gonna give it to Ello, dude. He just took the lead again, with Worcester. Worcester is also in there. How you doing, Disco Cockroach? All right, so far we've got Dexter and Ello. So next up, this is gonna be a fun one. All right, we're going to Japan. Get ready. Which Japanese runner? Which Japanese runner do you want to see? Do you want to see the legend Hodorubi? Do you want to see Ohon, the current champ? Do you want to see Oxwas? Dude, Ox is getting some love, man. Oxwas and Ohon. Hodorubi. Somebody said other. We'll see. Dude, how is Hodorubi getting smashed? I think I'm surprised that that Oxwas is taking this one down, man. Oxwas is ahead. Ohon with very, very close behind is Ohon. Hodorubi lagging behind, man. You guys just don't know your old school gamers. Hodorubi is the original god gamer of all time, dude. He was like accused of cheating in games because he was so good. And then he was like, no, I'm just that good. Hodorubi had the record in so many games, dude. So many games. So many games, man. You don't even know. I don't even know who Hodorubi is. This makes me cry. This makes me cry. Worcester pulled ahead? Okay, Worcester it is then, I guess. I got rid of that poll, so. Gus going with the stage presence of Oxwas. But nothing will beat Hodorubi. Alright, we'll give this one a little bit longer. Not everybody's voting. I guess I have some lurkers, because we're coming up on 200 viewers here. We're coming up on it. It's after 5 o'clock Eastern. Maybe people are still getting out of work and stuff right now. Yes, that's very true what Powexel said. Hodorubi's records are so good that even if you can beat a Hodorubi time today with all the advances in modern speed gaming, you're still like considered really good. And it's not even world record. It's just like you beat Hodorubi, that means you're really good. He's the standard. Hodorubi is the standard. Ohon is like the current Hodorubi. Dead tie. Hodorubi is at 20, falling behind Oxwas and Ohon at 30 votes apiece. Who's going to move on from this round? Well, Final Front, make a vote, dude. I'll give you the rundown. Oxwas is a very skilled Kirby runner. He can do some amazing things. He does this thing with the super shot, the charge shots, the throwing of the lightning bolts or whatever. You have to press like left and right like a bunch of times and he can just do it like crazy. Ohon currently has world record in a lot of games, including some Mega Man games. He's got, well, maybe, I don't know, those Mega Man changes have been happening a lot. Good luck, Holmir. Oxwas, oh, he has Super Mario RPG record. I did not know that. And finally, we have Hodorubi that is the ultimate legend that I was just discussing. Ohon has like Ninja Gaiden runs. He's got that. He's got Mega Man. Hodorubi used to have Super Metroid for a long time. Hodorubi used to have some like 2 Ninja Gaiden runs. He had a bunch of Mega Man runs. He had some Super Mario Brothers runs. Like, dude was a legend. I didn't know he was good at Dr. Mario. That's good. And Mega Man X series. Wow. So all right, one more time. We need to break the tie. Yeah, Garrison finally took down Hodorubi. I took down Hodorubi in Ninja Gaiden sword only. I was very proud of that. I'm one of the few that could say they beat a Hodorubi run before like 2013. Alright, Ox was taking the lead there. I don't think you can get wrong here, by the way, guys. I don't think there's really a wrong vote. So, alright, we're going to leave that one be. So, next up we have, this is going to be our last poll to decide who goes to the final poll. These guys are all advancing. So we are going to do... How do I even word this? I'll just say which player. Am I missing somebody? Alright, so these guys are all people that have some very good skills at maybe some blind runs, or maybe just old school games in general, or they're people that got suggested a lot on Twitter, and for good reason. So you may not know of many of them, but here you go. Somebody's going to advance from here as well. So I'll just quickly cover some things about them. What's up, Dude Man Jones? So we have Blecky's abstaining. That's very nice of him. Blecky, of course, there in the chat. He does a ton of games, and he knows a lot about games, and he'd probably kick your butt in a lot of games. And the commentary is pretty sick. Yeah, but for this, none of us had to do any commentary. Just saying. Jorf, of course, another old school gamer that can take it down. Toad has won the first 2 best of NES races, and Cap'n Drake is just somebody that got suggested a lot. Cap'n Drake got suggested a lot on Twitter. I don't really know much about Cap'n Drake, so if people in the chat could maybe write a brief blurb about like each person and try to like sway the voters to them. Like, if you voted for Blecky, be like, I voted for Blecky because, or I voted for Captain Drake because, I voted for Toad because, I voted for Jorf because. Oh, dude, yeah, Andy, that was another one that got suggested. I could have maybe put in. Ah, Captain Drake does Shovel Knight also. Okay, I knew that name from somewhere. And so he's also for blind. There we go. So now you guys are getting some information, so hopefully that'll help you make your vote. And then hopefully we'll get one more vote in. Getting ready to cross that 200 person mark. I mean, Blecky's kind of running away with this one, but in case your vote got swayed, post that poll in there one more time. So far we have Dexter, Worcester, Oxwas, and it looks like Blecky is going to be number 4. The vote is for which of these players you'd want to see at the next Nintendo World Championships. All right, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say Blecky's got this one. He's ahead by 12 votes. I don't see anybody else coming back from that. So our final poll. We'd love to see all these different guys at the next one, but if you could only choose one. If you could only choose one. So we had Blecky. We had Dexter. I always do these in alphabetical order, by the way. We had Oxwas. And we had Worcester. So those were our 4 winners from the polls. Hey, Latin America had somebody, dude. They had TMR. I mean, I guess maybe, I don't know, technically Mexico and Latin America are considered different. I can't remember. I was really terrible at geography in school, man. All right, last poll we got going on here. So far, Dexter and Blecky are in the lead. People are loving that Dexter. I know we got the Europeans in here, man. I know we got it. This is like not quite prime time for Europeans, but there's definitely a lot of Europeans streaming around this time or watching around this time. It's before midnight. So, hi there, Iron John. Time warp glitch. I did a run earlier. I don't know a lot of other ones either, XCAC. Blecky is making a run of it, man. Dexter is ahead, but Blecky's definitely giving him some competition. I think he's the only one that's here in the chat as well, dude. I felt kind of bad putting you in this poll, Blecky, that you're here, because it's like you have to see what's going on. Just vote for yourself, man. Just do it. Blecky's like such a good guy, he probably voted for Dexter. He's like not even gonna vote for himself. Alright, looks like Dexter is the guy. Dexter, that's my main man right there. Dexter. These polls are just for fun, man. Just strictly for fun. It's because, you know, people, they said they wanted to, you know, maybe see some other players at the NWC. You guys could watch it, you know, you guys could write in your own. I think I kind of asked Twitter yesterday. Oh, excuse me. I think I asked Twitter yesterday, and they kind of came up with some ideas. So some of the people in the polls were from Twitter suggestions. Most of them I had already included, to be honest, though. I think the only ones that I hadn't included in some way or another were, I think, Captain Drake and I can't think of the other one. If teams can we get Blecky and Cypher, dude, they would own. Nobody beats Blecky and Cypher. Not in the team game. Golden telling us what he's learned. All right, Dexter, it is, man. I can't wait to tell Dexter that he is the winner of this imaginary fantasy poll. Oh, shots fired except Sinister and Feasel. Dude, they let us win, man. They let us win. Try and do that showboating. Showboating. All right, guys. Why don't we talk a little more about... I want to hear from you guys what games you would like to see in Nintendo World Championships. So what were the games that didn't get played that you would have wanted to see in Nintendo World Championships? And why? Try to give some reasoning behind your game. It doesn't have to be an essay, but, you know, maybe give a little bit of you know, hey, I would have liked to have seen Punch Out because it's really good for high score or for speed, and they could have done kind of some kind of joint challenge. Hey, Bonesaw, what's up, man? Super Mario Brothers 1 or 3. I think we did see those, Monopoly Man. You just saw them in the form of Mario Maker, so they were actually able to sneak both of them in instead of just one of them, which I liked. And again, Poaxel, same as what I said before. Golden saying Rad Racer, he's going with the throwback, bringing it back to 1990. Full Super Metroid run. Dude, I love these suggestions. I think I would have liked to have seen maybe a... how do I put this? I mean, it was very balanced between the old school and the new school games because technically speaking, Mario Maker, it's kind of a throwback to the old games. So really, even though they had 5 new games and 3 old games, it was really almost kind of 4 and 4, if you will. Bioforce 8, dude, I love it. Duck Hunt blindfolded, this is fantastic. F-Zero. They did have a racing game in there. So this was one of the things that I thought Nintendo did really well in terms of diversity, which is what I had mentioned was like my prediction beforehand of having different genres and not just sticking to one thing. They did have a very diverse lineup of games. So, with the power pad. Balloon Fight, man, that was the game nobody was expecting. They had to throw one of them in there. Super Mario 64, okay. Ice Climbers would have been on par with Balloon Fight. Those are both games that are in the NES Remix library. Zelda 2, the reason that couldn't have been in is because Zelda 1 was chosen, but yeah, I mean they have tons of good games to choose from, but again, I think you really want to try to keep it to like games that are strictly like Nintendo first party games. Like you can't have I don't know if I'm saying this right, but like I'll give you a for instance. So like Donkey Kong Country, like Donkey Kong is a Nintendo franchise, but Donkey Kong Country was made by Rare. So that's why you might not see a game like Donkey Kong Country, which would have been awesome. I would have loved to have seen a Donkey Kong Country game in Nintendo World Championships, but I'm not sure that could happen. There's probably too many logistics of getting permissions and da-da-da-da, you know, they gotta do. So they want to just stick to, hey, these are our games. We can put them in the competition. Nobody can say anything about it. That's it. So anyway, why don't we move along to E3? So I did actually go to E3 pretty briefly, as a matter of fact. I wasn't there for very long, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I got to be on the Nintendo Treehouse, dude. I mean, what more can you ask for? So let's see. We have some pictures of my E3 experience, so I can kind of talk about that a little bit. Let's check it out. So I get there, and I go directly to Nintendo because a very nice gentleman from Nintendo named Ethan, who was a big part of the tournament, big part of the Nintendo World Championships, he had offered to kind of just show me around the Nintendo booth a little bit because he was working at the booth. And of course I said, yeah, you know, that's great, man. I'd love to do that. So I came over, and Ethan also sometimes goes on the Treehouse too to do that stuff. So I think he was actually in a segment when he was... when I showed up, but then he caught up with me, and he showed me the Mario Maker booth, and they kind of had this big screen with Mario Maker being played, and then they had a big crowd because everybody wanted to play Mario Maker, and they had a stage, and they would call people up on the stage. They had this MC guy. He's just talking. He was great. He was a really funny guy. And he was talking about the game and talking to people in the crowd and getting a lot of banter back and forth going. And, you know, I think there's actually another Nintendo employee, Eli, who really did a great job with everything as well. I'm going to talk about both those guys more when I get to my shout outs, but But Eli, I think, mentioned to the, I think he mentioned to the MC, he said, "Yo, Sinister One is here. He's one of the competitors from World." So I was just trying to chill and enjoy. Like, nobody knows who I am. You know, I'm not Cosmo or Trihex or anything like that. So, so I was just kind of chilling there and watching from the side. And then they're like, "Yo, we got, you know, Sinister One in the crowd here, everybody." And like everybody kind of looks over and starts cheering and stuff. And I was like, okay. So then they're, you know, later on, I kind of stayed there and I watched because I wanted to see a little more Mario Maker. They had some different levels available than what was shown in the Nintendo World Championships. So I was kind of interested and I was just watching. And eventually they're calling up a few people on stage. They were like, "All right, who's," you know, the guy's like, "All right," because there were so many people that wanted to play, man. They had a huge crowd there. And he's like, "Whoever can jump the highest right now." Like, everybody jumped, dude. Everybody jumped, and he like sees this one guy that jumped up in the front row, and he's like, "All right, you jump pretty high, get up here." And then he's like, "All right, we need another competitor. Let's get, who has $100 to give me?" And he said that as a joke, obviously. He was not. So this Asian dude like pulls out a $100 bill and he's like, "Here you go." And he's like, "Oh wow, he's actually got it. Talk to me later. But then he's like, "You know what? It's cool, man. You had a lot of moxie pulling out that 100. Why don't you come on up?" So he invites the Asian guy up. And then they're like, "All right, let's get one more person." And he looks around. He's like, "All right, Sinister One is still here, dude. Why don't you come on up, man? World Championships competitor. You can compete in this." And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, "Oh, jeez, man, I'm gonna get beaten by both of these guys. I'm terrible at Mario, and it's gonna be embarrassing. But whatever, let's do it." So I go up there, and here, I'll show you guys a picture. Let's see. Try to get this on a little bit better. There we go. So we had so this guy this guy here is the commentator. He's the MC. This was the Asian dude I was talking about who had actually played already. So I was like, man, this guy has because they were like, "Well, who do you think has got it?" And I was like, "It's this dude, this Asian dude. He's already played, man. I haven't even played yet." So because this was my first time actually playing Mario Maker. I hadn't even played it because obviously I didn't get to the finals or anything. So they get me up there and they're like, "All right, whoever makes it the furthest in this stage." And they said they're going to use the World Championships, the first stage from World Championships. So it's the stage you guys all saw. It was the one with the conveyor belts that kind of went up, and you had to go jump, and then eventually you got to some flying Koopas, and you had to jump off of them into this pipe. And wow, well, thank you, Cleanse. I appreciate that, man. Too classy for E3. Dude, I had a feeling that I might need to be looking classy for E3, and I was right. We'll get to that a little later on. So anyhow, we're up on stage, and they make me go last. Of course, they have the other guys going before me, and it's like the first guy. It's whoever gets the furthest. So the first guy doesn't get to the. He doesn't get to the part with the ramps going up. He was dying before that because he was trying to jump on the vine and then jump off and whatever. And the next guy is the Asian guy. He had already played, and he also didn't get past that part. So he died as well because it was a timed thing. You only got so much time to do it, and then you were done. So I went last, and like I'm playing, and I just die immediately. Like, it's so embarrassing. I'm like, God, there's a lot of input lag, man. Why is there so much input lag? And so I actually made a comment to one of the guys, and he's like, because they were giving everybody tips. This was not like just me, but this guy over here, this dude in the red shirt, not the MC, but this other guy. He was like, look, dude, you need to not look at the screen. You need to look at the Wii U, and there won't be input lag. Because I was looking up. I'm looking up at this big screen over there, so there's input lag. But once I started looking at the Wii U, I was like, okay, we got this. So I get to the actual part with the jumps, doing the ramp jumps, but my time is running out, so I only get a few shots at it, and I can't make it because you actually have to jump from, I found this out later because I got to play a little bit more, you actually have to jump from the middle of the ramp instead of the edge, or maybe there was still input lag even on the Wii U itself, possibly, I don't know. Either way, I didn't pass the stage, but I beat the other two guys. So anyway, for all the winners, they were giving out this really cool prize, which, oh, check it out. I got my badge too. Boom! Look at that. That's my E3 badge, Sinister One, as you can see. Exhibitor, experience the evolution, all that good stuff. You know, Dram, I'm not qualified to comment on that, man. I think, to me, it felt a little bit different than the Mario games that I've played, but I could just be wrong. Like, it felt a little floatier than Mario 1. So maybe closer to Super Mario World, because I feel like that's a little bit floatier, but I could be wrong there too. You'd be able to tell right away, but I think it's an awesome game, Dram. I'm probably gonna get it, actually, believe it or not. I don't usually do new games, but I was impressed enough with that one that I might go ahead and get it. That name cover up, yeah, you guys know how I do. Ain't nobody getting my secret identity. So this is what you got if you want one. So right there, it's hard to see probably. This isn't the best webcam, but it says 30, and it's because it's the Super Mario Brothers 30th anniversary. And what you got is it's actually a pin. Nicely done, Butterfingers. It's actually it's a pin. There, you can see it a lot better. So it's I'm pretty sure that's not real gold or anything like that, but it's pretty sweet, dude. Look at that. That's pretty awesome. So, and it's okay, guys, because I actually got two of them. So even though I just dropped that one and probably messed it up, scratched a little bit, whatever. Pretty sweet, huh? So that's what you got if you won. And the Asian dude was complaining because he was like, I won yesterday, but they didn't give me a pin. And I think I already showed this, but this was my for the actual competition. You had to have this because otherwise you can't be in the building. Oh wow, that's a new emote. That's pretty sweet. Electric Fish Tank and Gucci Cabra both have this Samus face palming. That's pretty nice. I haven't seen that one before. In 20 years, that'll be worth $100. Maybe. You never know. So anyhow, they were nice enough to invite. Dude, everybody has it, man. Is this? Oh, it's Witwix. Okay. I was gonna say, is this a universal emote? There's just a lot of Witwix subs in the house, I guess. That's pretty cool, you guys. That is pretty awesome. Alright, so let's see another picture here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove some of these other pictures. Well, no, I'm not. Let's go ahead and do this. So after that, I got to play a little bit, just on my own. Ethan was able to get me to a station. It was kind of like, it was cool. It was like in this VIP area. And this is probably my favorite story from the whole thing. So it's this VIP area where there's like, because in the main area they have a bunch of, if you haven't been to E3 before, they have a bunch of, consoles and stuff set up, like stations they have set up for people to play. But there's lines. There's, if you want to play, you got to wait in line. And it takes a long time. So rather than waiting in line, Ethan takes me to this VIP area where they have a bunch of them set up. They have like 8 of them, and there's like one person on each one, so you only have to wait for one person. There's no line, and if you go at the right time, there's probably some of them free. They did give the Asian dude a pin as well, and the other guy that competed. Yeah, they were good sports, so they gave everybody one. So, so I'm in there. So I'm like, you guys know how I am, man. I'm a speedrunner. I can't be defeated by that level. So I'm like, I have to beat the NWC level 1. I have to do it. So I get on there and I'm playing, and I beat it my first try, of course. So it's like all I needed was one more try to beat the level, and I would have beat it on stage in front of everybody, but I didn't. So what? So I'm playing the second level, and this Australian guy comes up behind me, and he's talking to, there's like a girl at the station. She's like one of the like Nintendo models or whatever. And she's just kind of like talking to me while I'm playing or whatever. That's what they do. Like they just kind of talk to people while they're playing, make sure they understand how the game works, etc. And he's like, oh, this is that game they had in the Nintendo World Championships, isn't it? And then she was like, yeah, this is the level that they had in there. And then he like he can't see me because he's behind me. I can't see him either. But he's like, man, those guys were awful, man. I could have beaten most of those guys. I don't know how they picked them out. And I'm just sitting there like trying not to laugh so hard, man. And he just goes on. He's like, yeah, you couldn't even play these levels, you know? And he's just going on and on. And he's like, yeah, you know, I don't know, man. They got to do a better job next time. And it was so funny because the girl is like totally going along with it because she doesn't know I was in the competition either. She's like, yeah, I know, you know, they could really. And so they're just having this conversation, and Ethan had stepped away, and then he like came back, and then like later on, I think he mentioned it to the girl, like, hey, he was one of the competitors or whatever. She's like, oh. Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. So, and she kind of had an interesting story. She said that her dad actually had gotten her to start going to E3 because he was like a huge video game fan, and like every year he would write a letter like begging basically to be let into E3, and they would reject him every year for like 7 years or something like that. And she said eventually on like the 7th year they were like, all right, we'll let you in on one condition: you never ever write us a letter again asking to get into this thing. So he takes her, you know, and they go to E3, and then I guess like one of the other one of the E3 models or something came up, and she's like, hey, are you one of the Nintendo models or blah 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 whatever. She's like, what? What is that? And I guess they basically told her, they're like, you could do this, you know, you could do this thing. And so, you know, she ended up getting a job doing that, so good for her. But anyways, I played the NWC. The second level I couldn't get past. Once I got into the stiletto, I just really had trouble. The stiletto was pretty difficult to do. So, but it was fun. So then they asked me. They were like, "Hey, do you want to be on Nintendo Treehouse Live?" And I was like, I'm gonna have to think about that. Yes, I do. Please, oh my God, let me get on there. They're like, okay, cool. So come on over here, and so they had me, and they had Jackson Blackson was there, aka Jordan, and a lot of the people had left. I think most of the competitors had left by this point because this was Wednesday, and they basically what they wanted to do was just make a stage and show it off on stream with us playing it. So here's a picture from that. So I should be covering chat, shouldn't I? That makes more sense. So you can see up there, we have, I can't remember the dude's name on the far left, but after that is Morgan, and then we have Eric, and then we have Jackson Blackson, and then myself. all up there. So they made this level, and they made it really, really hard, dude. They made this crazy jump in the beginning of it. And so Jackson goes first, and he's playing, and like he cannot get past this jump, and then he just hands the controller over to me. He's like, all right, Sinister, I'm gonna give you a jump. I'm like, oh god, dude. So I get to it, and they had modeled it after this jump in Super Mario Brothers 1, but I think it was actually not the jump. Like, they thought that it was the jump, it was not the jump. Because I know in Super Mario Brothers 1 you can do that jump without stopping and slowing down. You don't have to slow down at all. But what I had to do was, like, I had to... it was like you were coming off a pipe, and then there's two, like, skinny platforms. There's two of them right next to each other, so you can run across them. And then you had to jump to another skinny platform and then jump all the way over. And... I wasn't making it, and I was like, why isn't this working? Because I thought it was the one from Super Mario Brothers 1, but then eventually I realized that, oh no, it's not. I have to adjust the jump. I have to adjust the jump and actually stop on the platform and then go back. But by that time I died enough times, I'm like, let me pass it back to Jackson. And then he went a few more times, and I think I went a few more times. Neither of us could he eventually got past it, and then he got into the next part of the stage, and then he got past that. So thank goodness that one of us actually beat the stage, because we were both looking pretty bad. I think they kind of overestimated our ability to just, like, get past one of these. Like, you're supposed to work your way up, man. There was no working of the way up. It was just like, here's this jump immediately. Oh, you died? Okay, try it. Yep, you died again. Like, it was pretty funny. What's up, Wargy? So that was fun. And we were only on for about 10 minutes. They actually did makeup and hair and everything like that. Like, they took us in this little backstage area, and they did some stuff. They put put a little makeup on, and she did, like, some hairspray or whatever. I mean, my hair was already in pretty good shape, but she just made sure it was perfect. And that was the treehouse. So that was pretty cool. And then I really didn't spend a lot of time at E3. But on the way out, I did get to meet this guy. Let's see, here we go. This was pretty unpleasant, but I got away unscathed. Fortunately, you guys, as you can see, I'm here. I survived, but it was a close one. Here, actually, I want to see what the chat reactions are, so I'm gonna cover myself. So they had these guys and women dressed as zombies, and they were like just kind of all over E3. And I'm sure if any of you guys are following anybody that was E3, I'm sure you've seen a picture of one of them. But this dude, he was coming after me, man. I was like, whoa, man, get off of me. So I think the funniest part of this picture is actually, though, if you can see, there's like a girl that's kind of she's photobombing right here. Like, I think her reaction is just hilarious, because it might even be real. But either way, why didn't you kick him in the nuts? Dude, he just came at me, man. I wasn't ready. Oh my god, are you okay? Oh, dude. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So that was kind of my E3 experience. I actually didn't go to many of the other booths or anything like that. Thank you, Angelic Zelda. They were promoting some zombie game, dude. I don't know, man. Some newfangled game that's probably for, like, 360 or not, whatever, Xbone or whatever those consoles are called, man. I don't know about it. So that was that. I don't think there's any more E3 pictures. Okay. So there was also a Twitch party, you guys. I don't know if you knew about this or not, but there was a Twitch party. And I thought this was just going to be like a low-key kind of thing where they had like Twitch people and just like a hangout kind of thing. And then I'm like, okay, this sounds fun. I'll check this out. And then I get there and I realize, I'm like, oh man, this is a club, dude. This is an actual club in Los Angeles. This is not just a regular party. So you can hear the music like pumping from the outside, and luckily Rom Scout was able to get he was able to get me in, because otherwise you had to wait in line. There was like a long line out the door. It was just like a real club, like it was a real nightclub. And I was like, dude, I'm too old for this shit, man. I am too old. So here's my reaction when I get in there and realize that, yeah, I'm definitely too old to be here. What are we doing? Yep. Sinister is not belonging in the club. Oh man. So there was hundreds of people in there, man. It was like packed. It was like a legit nightclub experience. I used to go clubbing a lot when I was younger, you guys, but I'm old. I don't go to clubs anymore. I haven't been to a club in a long time, and and that's what happened. So here's another shot. So we actually got to go. It was kind of they had a big dance floor, and then they had find this other picture here. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So this was the view from upstairs. So you can see this shit was on and popping, dude. There was an open bar, and I don't drink. How about that? Open bar. So here's the DJs were over here. Let me kind of, because it's probably hard to see for you guys, but I'll do my best. So this is where the DJs are. This is the DJ booth, like right here, the main, or it was actually more of a main stage, and then they had the light show stuff going on all in the background here. They had signs. There was a Twitch sign somewhere, but I don't know. There's Xbox, Turtle Beach, whatever. So I guess it was all just different. And it wasn't just Twitch, which is what I thought it was going to be at first. It was like industry. It was industry people kind of thing. So it was a different experience, Solid. I don't know about that. So I go up to the bartender. And I'm like, do you have any bottled water? And he's like, and he pulls out a bottle of Jameson, and he's like, and I'm just like, dude, I don't drink. And I just walk away. And then he's like, he's been silent to this point, like he hasn't said a word, and then he's like, hey! And I'm like, what? And he pulls out a bottled water. It's like, here you go, here's your bottled water, you non-drinker. So yeah, he was trying to troll me a little bit, I guess. Trolling me. There's no water. There's no water in here. So that was the Twitch party, or the industry party, whatever it is. So that was fun times. I didn't stay there for very long. I was feeling like pretty out of place. I was like, yeah, this is, dude, I'm like the oldest guy in here probably by a long margin, wide margin, and I'm not drinking. Let me get the hell out of here. So get the hell out of there I did. So finally, I want to do some shout outs. I think it's about time for that, right? You got time for some shout outs? We have time. So let's do that, and I'll show you guys a few more pictures, and then we'll do the Q&A. The Q&A, that's what everybody wants to do, right? You guys want to ask questions. You don't want to just sit here and listen to me talk, because that's what I do. All right, shout outs. Let's get it started. I want to start out, we're going to go kind of in chronological order and then in alphabetical order. So I'm going to do shout outs to Marika and Kian, and they're the ones that taught me how to play Splatoon. So thank you so much to Marika and Kian for teaching me that game, showing me how to just, get the mechanics of it down and give me some strategy and stuff like that. It was really helpful and really fun, and you guys did a great job of explaining it and being patient with me, because I'm a total noob when it comes to those games. So thank you both so much for that. Thanks, of course, to my lovely girlfriend who came along with me for the trip. We ended up staying longer and doing other activities in Los Angeles as well. So we did some fun stuff, and she put up with all this video game stuff. So that was very wonderful of her to do. So much appreciated. Shout outs to her. Shout outs to DK28 and DK28's wife, Mrs. Kong, as he sometimes refers to her. They also took us out. They we went to Santa Monica Pier, and then we went to the Hollywood sign. We did a hike. That was really fun. We did a hike up to the Hollywood sign. So that was good times as well. And I want to shout out some of the Nintendo people, man. Definitely Eli. He's the first guy that I met from Nintendo. And he was basically in charge of making sure everything ran smoothly, taking care of all the attendees, making sure we knew what we were doing, what was going on. He was just kind of like the liaison, and he did a fantastic job. He's a terrific ambassador for Nintendo. He was on top of everything, every step of the way. Super nice guy, and just really helped make it an amazing experience. So thank you very much to Eli. Really appreciate that. Next up, I want to give a huge shout out to Ethan. I had mentioned him earlier in the stream. Ethan also works for Nintendo, and he was integral in getting speedrunners into this actual competition. He kind of had suggested that, hey, maybe we could do, if we're going to invite people, maybe some speedrunners would be a good idea. And then I think that's kind of how it got started. Not only that, but he did a terrific job of, again, like spending time with the attendees, making us feel welcome, just taking care of us in general, showing us around. Like I said, when I went to E3, he was there, he showed me around, and really just made it a pleasurable experience. So definitely shout outs to Ethan, and also to Eric. Eric, who was on Treehouse Live, he also had talked to all the competitors on the phone as well beforehand to kind of brief us and get us ready. I'm pretty sure it's the same Eric. I could be making a mistake here, but if it's not, then shout out to both Erics if it's different. But I thought it was the same guy. I kind of just had this realization that it could be two different people. But either way, yeah, he had me on the treehouse there, so that was pretty awesome and stuff. I want to shout out all the commentators and the host, Kevin Pereira, that I could not hear because, like I said, the acoustics in that place, it was very difficult to hear what they were saying. The way it's set up is if you're on stage, you can't hear as well as if you're in the audience, then you can hear perfectly. So I think they probably just had speakers that were facing out. So we're like in front of the speakers, and everybody that's on the other side of the speaker can hear. So shout outs to those guys, man. Definitely appreciate the role you guys played in it, and I'm sure it was super exciting. I still have yet to watch it back. I'm gonna eventually at some point I'm gonna watch the whole thing back. I've seen Super Metroid, but other than that, I haven't seen a whole lot. Gonna check that out. So now, of course, I want to shout out a lot of the competitors as well. I didn't get to really talk to every competitor. So I do want to say, shout outs to Mad Mage and Jovenshire, which I really didn't get to talk to you guys very much. I wish I did, but I mean, obviously there's a bunch of us there, so you're not going to get to talk to every single person. And, but hey, it was nice meeting you guys, and I'm glad that we got to compete. So as far as the competitors themselves, this is where I'm going to go in alphabetical order, because you guys know I don't like to show preference or favoritism in situations like this. When I do my GDQ shoutouts, I always go in alphabetical order. So first up, we have Aaron from Game Grumps. Aaron, it was super nice to meet you. The only thing I knew about Aaron was that he did the Mega Man X, the jump and shoot video. I guess that was from a different series that he used to do. But I remember that video was like super awesome. I was like, oh man, this dude's gonna be cool. So I met him, and he was super cool. Yeah, Ego Raptor, I think, was the name that he used at that time. I don't know if he still uses Ego Raptor, but he was going by Aaron, so we're just gonna call him that. So I talked to him actually most when I was on the couch, and then also I was on his team for Blast Ball, so we got to speak then. So definitely had some good conversations with him. He's a funny dude. He was making jokes like pretty much the whole time, even when we weren't like on camera. He was still making jokes behind the scenes and stuff. He just seems like a really fun guy, really fun to hang around. So wish I would have got to spend a little more time with him, but we had a limited amount of time. So shout outs to you know what, I think I got a story for Aaron. I don't think they showed this on the stream, somebody told me, but he like did this thing where he like tripped onto the stage because he was trying to make a joke, like he was doing it as a joke, but he did it and then came out. But I think they didn't put the camera on him yet for the trip. So that's the little story about him. Shout outs to Bananas. I had met Bananas very briefly at SGDQ, but hadn't really got to talk to her. So when I was doing interviews, they would take us out in groups, and it was me, Bananas, and Kari, and they kind of take you up to this room, and they like only take one of you at a time to be interviewed. And Bananas is like so funny too. She's just like, so there's like this girl that's like the handler, that's like the go-between to get us to the interview and stuff like that. And she was like asking Bananas questions, and she was like, so Bananas, like what games do you play? And she's like, I don't play games. And the girl's like, what are you talking about? I mean, you're here to play. She's like, I don't play games. I'm just like cracking up, but she like eventually she was like, yeah, I play some Zelda, you know, whatever. But it was just so funny, like just seeing her interact with this other girl. But yeah, she was a good competitor, definitely a good sport, and it was fun to get to meet her and talk to her a little bit more. So I'm gonna play games. So then we had BSG 4000, and BSG 4000, you guys might not know this, he actually played in the 1990 World Championships. I think he made it to the regional, I can't remember how the order was, but he had made it a little bit far, and he didn't quite make it all the way. So for him, this was like a pretty big deal, and you know, to make it in and finally get in, because he didn't get in when he was younger, so he's like finally getting to live his childhood dream. And of course he had the epic win in Zelda, and then he was the one I was talking about. Yeah, the Boss Crab just mentioned it, to being the voice of God. He was standing behind me because he was directly to my left when we did Super Metroid, and I guess he must have died or something like that. So when the competitors were out, they were moved back away from the console. So he's standing behind me completely out of my field of vision, so I didn't know I didn't even know it was him talking to me like until maybe after like 10 or 20 seconds. But if you want to get that reference, you guys, about BSG 4000 being the voice of God, you have to watch part 1. Watch just the section where I talk about Super Metroid. So yeah, shout outs to him. He also did a great job of getting everybody's information aggregated and like sharing, so that we all kind of can keep in contact a little bit. So that was another nice thing that he did. That was really cool. Shout outs to Cosmo. Obviously you guys all know Cosmo. He did a terrific job. He made it to second place, the runner up. We couldn't quite take it down, man. The speedrunners, we didn't do it, but we got to the finals at least. So, you know, we were all a team, obviously trying to do well together, but ultimately everybody was in the team. It was not like speedrunners versus regional qualifiers. It was just, we were all in it to have fun and to just, you know, do a good job, which that is what happened. So Cosmo is he's like a pretty quiet guy in real life. Like he does talk a lot in his stream, but he's not like, you know, gonna just come up to you and start talking to you like, say, you know, Trihex or somebody. But if you start talking to him though, he's like really friendly. Cosmo's like a super friendly guy, you know, he'll talk to you. And so I was talking to him about Smash, and like he was giving me tips on that. We talked about some other stuff, but he was on my team. He was a big part of the reason that I got to move on past round 1, because he knew how to play Splatoon. So he definitely helped me to get as far as I got, and I think it worked out well that he got to play Smash in there because that's like kind of his game. It's kind of the same way I got to play Super Metroid. He got to play Smash. I think everybody else, nobody got to play like a game that they're really super known for or anything. So that was pretty cool. And shout outs to Essentia and Denton too, because Denton was there, and got to hang out with them. We actually Essentia was the first person I saw when I checked into the hotel, because my girlfriend's like, hey, she's wearing a GDQ shirt, and I was like, oh, hey. So that was kind of fun, and talked to them a good deal, and they were good sports about letting us use the room at one point, because we had like a really long day, and then we had to change before we went to the Twitch party, because I'm not just gonna roll up there after, like, because that's when we had hiked to the Hollywood sign, so I'm not just gonna go to this Twitch party not dressed up nice. So we had already checked out of our room by that time, so they let us like use their room just to change real quick, and then we went and we took Rom Scout and them, because we were the only ones that actually had a car. Got a rental car, which ended up being a huge hassle, but anyhow, I don't think so, Van Wedge. If they were, I didn't see them. All right, so shout outs to FernSig01. He was a super friendly guy. He came from Florida. He was the Florida qualifier, and I got to talk to him a little bit at the initial meetup. He was just a super chill dude. He was just laid back, like having fun to be there. He was like telling me how like his work, they didn't even believe him, like when he said that that he was in this competition. They were like, no, you're not, dude, you're lying. Like they're like making fun of him at his job, like, dude, you're not in the Nintendo competition. So yeah, that was FernSig. He came. He had also brought his girlfriend with him. So John Numbers, shout outs to John Numbers, dude. What a champion, man. What a legend. This dude took it down. He took down the whole thing. Apparently he's like, I think he's like some kind of like he played in some huge Dr. Mario tournament and was the winner. Like he's the champ of it or something. That's what TMR was telling me. I didn't get to meet him. Like, I mean, I got to meet him. I didn't get to talk to him that much. He was one of the people I didn't get to talk to quite as much. But he was the only other person when we got there that wasn't wearing this shirt. So I have something in common with John Numbers, dude. I wasn't wearing the shirt. He wasn't wearing the shirt. We both ended up getting the shirt. It was all good. Obviously, they let us play in the competition, and it was okay. But I think that it was definitely a thing where if somebody's gonna win, he was a worthy winner out of the people that were playing in it. Like, he played really well, and he was consistent, and he just did a good job overall, and it showed. So I thought, like, if they ran back that competition a bunch of times, I bet he'd win it a good percentage of the time, to be honest. And like I said yesterday in the stream, like, once I had gotten eliminated, I was talking to some of the other people, and I was like, dude, John Numbers, he's gonna win. And a bunch of people agreed too. They were like, yep, dude is legit. So shout outs to John Numbers, man. I hope you do something after this. I hope like he starts streaming or something like that. You know, you gotta do something, man. You gotta stick with some gaming. All right, next up was Jackson Blackson, aka Jordan. Jordan is super cool, dude. Like, you guys know who Jordan is. Like, you saw him. He was there. He was on Treehouse Live with me. This dude is huge, man. He's like a freaking defensive end. Like, you walk up to this dude and you're like, whoa, like this dude just he's massive. I think he said he was like 6'4", but he's probably like actually 6'5". Because I'm 6'1", and I was like looking up to this dude. And he's pretty damn built. So, you know, he looks like an intimidating kind of guy. Like, you see this guy and you think like, this dude would not be like a friendly person, but he's actually so friendly, man. He was like really chill to talk to. I got to talk to him a bunch, obviously before the Treehouse Live. We were kind of just chit chatting, and I talked to him some in the green room and whatnot. And even like I had read about, there was this controversy with him and PSP, Patrick Scott Patterson. Am I getting that right? but they had this thing, this Dr. Mario thing, where it went back and forth, and they both were playing, and Jordan ended up winning it. So good for him, man. He did a good job. He also helped carry me in Splatoon. Another good Splatoon player that helped me get past round 1. Jordan, thank you very much for that. And he's also said he's probably going to start streaming, so hopefully you'll be able to follow him and see what he's going to do. Yeah, that was him, Blecky. That was him. All right, next up, shout outs to Mr. Blarney. Mr. Blarney is a PhD, if you guys didn't know, and he's like a doctor in real life is what he does. But he was like laying it down before the tournament. We were all in the green room, and at one point, like, he was just kind of giving this speech, and they had cameras in there and stuff too, and like he was like, somebody commented, they were like, they're gonna show this later after you win the tournament, because he was just going on this like speech, dude. Everybody's just like paying attention to him because he's just captivating. Hey, what's up, Adjudicator? Thank you very much. Welcome. So yeah, that was cool. I think Mr. Blarney was really cool. I talked to him a lot also for like before the tournament, for when we did the meetup, like when everybody was just kind of getting together and meeting each other and stuff. I sat next to him and talked to him about like Dr. Mario and other stuff like that. And he told me about some of his gaming. Super cool guy. Next up was Packy. Shout outs to Packy. I actually had breakfast with him one morning. He was in the hotel, and we both were there getting breakfast at the same time. So we just kind of sat down and chit chatted. And another super nice guy. Definitely had an enjoyable conversation and breakfast with Packy. So I put Rom Scout in here. He wasn't one of the competitors, but shout outs to Rom Scout, dude. Rom Scout obviously is the one who first initially told me about this whole thing and the invite, and he also helped me get into that Twitch and other thing party. So thank you very much, Rom. He helped coordinate a lot of stuff. Much appreciated. Shout outs to the Mexican Runner. Mexican Runner is, well, actually, I want to go back. I need to do another mini shout out here. So John Numbers, dude, let me just tell you about this guy. He was not like one of those competitors where like, oh, I'm not gonna, I don't want anybody else to win, I'm gonna crush these dudes or whatever. In the beginning of the like right before the tournament, he was actually showing Aaron and Jovenshire some tricks in Zelda. Like, he was trying to help them out. He was trying to coach them up and make sure that they were ready to play Zelda. And that just goes to show like what kind of person he is. He was like, whereas me, like like, I'm not doing that. I'm not like, let me teach these guys how to play Zelda real quick. I'm like, yo, if they don't know, that's on them, man. That's too bad. They knew it was up. They should have known. Because I'm just, you guys know me. I'm a bit of a competitor, so I'm not going to give an edge to competition if it's not warranted. But John Numbers is not like that, man. He's a better man than I am. So way to go on that, John. And TMR, the Mexican Runner. I was really rooting for the Mexican Runner. I thought that beforehand, out of the speedrunners, he was going to do the best, because first of all, he had a decent amount of time to play in practice, because as far as I know, he just does streaming. I don't think he like has like a 9-to-5 job or anything like that. And he plays a lot of games blind because he's doing this NES Mania thing. So he's always playing new games, and he's always having to figure stuff out and improvise and stuff like that. So I really felt like he was going to be maybe somebody that could do well in this tournament. And it really sucks that he got knocked out during Zelda, because he probably was pretty well prepared for that. I would say he played it a lot on stream, and he was playing it a lot on his 3DS, like even practicing leading up to the tournament the day of. Like 3 people had 3DSs in there, like practicing Zelda. Dirty practicers. I would have done that too if I had a 3DS. So Captain Drake, there he is. What's up, man? How you doing? Mommies. So yeah, TMR is just, he's very, very fun guy. You guys see him, I'm sure a lot of you watch his stream, so you know how he is, and he's just like that in person. Like, he's just a very gregarious kind of fun guy that likes to joke around and just, you know, have a good time. So that's basically how it was with TMR. And I wish he had gotten a little further, like I said, but it is what it is. He did, I'll tell you this much though, he won for best entrance on the stage. He did that spin move and putting the hat on his head. That was pretty cool. And also, I have to show you guys another picture. This is the frame perfect hat throw by TMR. Let's find it. So my girlfriend's getting ready to take a picture of me and a bunch of the competitors, and TMR is standing to the left of her. Pac-Man in the house for 18 months, baby. What's up, Pac-Man? Thank you for that resub. Dude, 18 months. Have I had sub for 18 months? Good God. I think Pac-Man like subbed early before I even had sub or something. I don't know how he did it. He pulled it off. Alright, so this, you're going to see me and Mr. Blarney, although there's a lot more people that are supposed to be photographed in this. So this is the perfect, this is like a frame perfect throw here. Frame perfect hat throw. Alright? Check it out. You will never see anything like this in your life. Frame perfect hat throw, baby. Look at that, dude. Hat right in front of the camera, but it didn't cover me, because like obviously I'm the main person being photographed. It's somebody's taking this picture for me, so I'm still in the picture. It's even spinning so fast you can see Mad Mage in the background. You can see Mad Mage over here because the hat is spinning that fast. So that was also frame perfect. And then Mr. Blarney here, we're chilling, we're taking a picture. So frame perfect hat throw by TMR. So he had the best entrance and he had the best hat throw by far. TMR repping it. All right, next up, Timsy88. Timsy88, I didn't get to talk to a whole lot, other than before Splatoon, we kind of talked about strategy and whatnot, but definitely shout outs to him for helping carry me in the Splatoon round. And also he was the last man standing in Super Metroid, so I think it was me versus him in Super Metroid, and he made it close. He made it a race because everybody could have just died and I could have been like the one that made it out, but he was ready to go, dude. He was ready to go. I'm not sure if I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways. Alright. And then finally, shout outs to Trihex, dude. I always love hanging out with Trihex. I never get to spend too much time with him at the GDQ events because he's so popular, and he's always being like bombarded by people or whatever. But Trihex, a lot of people don't know this, man. Trihex has been around since Classic Games Done Quick, dude. He's old school when it comes to speedrunning community, man. He's been doing it longer than I have, I'm pretty sure. And he represents it well, man. He definitely, I would have loved to have seen him in that Mario round, dude. It was hard for him to see that and be like, oh man, I could have been playing Mario Maker if I had just made it through the Smash round. Trihex could have been in there, dude, and he's obviously known for the Yoshi's Island, which is a Mario game, so that would have been right up his alley, dude. I don't know if John Numbers could have taken Trihex if it came down to that. Wow, breakdown even thrown out there. Trihex even predates him. So that goes to show you Trihex is old school and he represents. So finally, I'm trying to think if I have any good Trihex stories. I don't know. He's just an all-around good guy, dude. And he's fun to be around. Very fun to hang out with. It's a shame also they couldn't have got him on the Treehouse Live, because originally they were going to do it the day before when he was still in town and he was supposed to be on, but they had to cancel it for some reason. I can't remember, Miyamoto or something they were going to show him doing something, so they scrapped it. So unfortunate, man. Would have loved to see Trihex play the Mario Maker and represent. He would have done a better job representing the speedrunning community on Mario Maker than I did. That's for sure. So those are my shout outs. I'm going to show you guys a couple more pictures, and then we will finally do Q&A, and then that is going to be that. So let me see. I've already shown some of these pictures. All right. Speaking of Trihex, here we go. Here we go. We got a Trihex picture. Getting the love, dude. Feeling the love. Trihex and TMR, man. Feeling the love. So this was back in the green room. We were just kind of chilling. Everybody's hanging out. This was after the competition. We're all happy. We're having a good time, man. It's a blast, dude. You can see it's just smiles on our faces, man. Good times. Good times had by all. Already showed that one. Alright, this is with some of the other competitors. This will give you an idea of how huge Jackson Blackson is, dude. This guy is so freaking big. I'm telling you. He plays defensive end in the NFL. He's actually like leaning down a little bit. You can't tell in this picture, but he's like leaning down to make the rest of us not feel so short. But look at that. Look at that dude's arm, dude. His arm is like 3 times as big as mine. And I actually have like fairly big biceps if I'm flexing. But yeah, dude is a monster. And he's so good at like Dr. Mario because he had to compete with PSP and like do this crazy thing. So that's Jordan, aka Jackson Blackson. This is Fern Sigo 1, aka Fernando. And this is BSG 4000. I want to, oh geez, what's his real name? I want to say it's Chris, but that I might be wrong. So yeah, it was cool. I wanted to get some shots with all the competitors. I didn't get everybody, unfortunately. I was really sad about that, actually. I really wanted to get pictures with everybody, but I did not. And let's see, I already showed that, already showed that, already showed that. Ah, okay, one last shot. This is, let me make sure this is the last shot, actually. Oh no, there's a couple more, okay. Dude, look what I found. You guys will never believe what I found. You'll never believe it. I found this in Los Angeles. And it's even, there's palm trees in the background, so it's proof. It's proof, man. It's a payphone! It's a freaking payphone, dude. I found the only payphone left in the world. It's right there in Los Angeles, man. Check it out. Alright. So this is when somebody was talking trash and I was like, the fuck did you just say to me, bitch? That's actually not what happened at all. That's just what it looks like is what's going on. I don't know. I don't know what I'm even looking at over there, dude. There's something going on and I'm looking to the side. I just made that story up. Had to have a caption for the picture. I should just like put this picture out there and have people caption it. That would be a fun game to do. Did you find a blockbuster too? Nice one. I'm sure everybody's already seen this picture, but in case you didn't, the gun show was real. We got Trihex DK28, Mexican runner, and myself flexing it out. Dude, look at these buff guys, dude. These are freaking ripped. Trihex is big, man. He's like put on a lot of muscle. Like he did not used to be nearly this big. That dude has definitely put on some weight. Like good weight too. So that was a fun picture. I think that was DK28's idea. I don't remember whose idea it was, but we had to get in there one time. And then last but not least, this is a great picture right here. I think maybe Nintendo might have tweeted this, so you guys may have already seen it. So this was out there on Twitter for show. But this was after the competition was over. This is just everybody. I think we're missing like one competitor or something, but it's almost everybody. Almost everybody is in it. It's a really good picture. I like it. Whoa. There it is. So you got the champion there. This guy is D1. He was one of the commentators. Is with John. D1, I believe, is his name. This dude, I can't remember this guy's name, but he's a professional Smash player, and he was like somehow allowed backstage and stuff. Like he was kind of hanging out with us. I guess he was part of the big Smash tournament they did last year at E3 or something like that. He told me, I can't really remember. He was a really cool guy though. He was pretty funny. And of course you got, dude, look at Aaron. It's hilarious. So yeah, somebody's missing from here. Who is the missing person? Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're missing one person. It must have been one of the, maybe it's Jovenshire is missing from this picture. That's probably who it is. I'm thinking it's Jovenshire. What's up, Omni? Alright guys, I think it's about that time for the Q&A session. So let's do it, man. Q&A. Q&A hype. So actually, I'm sorry, I was looking at this. BSG 4000 had told me, he said nobody noticed this, but during Super Metroid, he died in a glitch during the Super Beam sequence and was stuck in a kneeling position and died to a bomb. He was behind, so he was saying that. But alrighty, let's check it out. We got Q&A. I'm gonna try to answer as many of your questions as possible. And I'm also going to tweet, because maybe people actually want to do it. Let me do that. Because I know a lot of people wanted to do Q&A and they just didn't, like, maybe they didn't want to watch the whole stream. So one quick tweet and then we'll get it on. I'm going to try to move this up too. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go until probably close to 7. So we got about half an hour for Q&A, so I'm going to try not to be too wordy with my answers, which obviously I'm terrible at that, but we're going to do what we can. All right, Espoa says, so when you found out you were about to play Super Metroid, what went through your mind? Dude, Espoa, it was like the greatest moment. It was like a dream that quickly turned into a nightmare. Because right when I found out, I did a huge fist pump, which I demonstrated in my part 1 of my recap stream yesterday, if you want to see what it looked like. They didn't show it on camera. But I was just so happy. I was just like, oh my god, dude, how is this possible? I'm so lucky right now. I was like, I'm going to survive this round. But then when I got over to the controls, I was like, uh-oh. Would you rather commentate or play in the next NWC, assuming there is one? That's actually a really difficult question, because playing in it was so much fun, but I think there's just so many more deserving people than me to play that I'd probably be glad to be a commentator. Oh, fucking sake. Sorry. Excuse my language. Gotta save them and go away. Thank you. Trying to scroll down through here. I'm gonna go with commentate, because I love commentate. You guys know how much I love commentating, and I'm kind of leaning more towards that going forward, because you don't have to be practiced and prepared as much for commentary as you do for actual gameplay. At least I feel like, as long as you know what you're talking about, you can get in there and do it. How old are you? Good question. Who would you have picked if you got to play Smash Bros? I actually referenced this in part 1. I was going to pick Mario. I had a long discussion with Cosmo. So this is how the discussion went. So I'm talking to Cosmo. I'm like, Cosmo, did you ever used to play Tekken? I believe it's specifically Tekken 3 that had Eddie Gordo. So if you haven't played Tekken 3, Eddie Gordo was this guy that did capoeira, and basically you could just mash buttons and he would do like all these moves. And like, if you were not a good player, like somebody could just sit there and mash buttons and beat you, and there's nothing you can do about it, because like he would just do all these crazy moves. So I was like, who is the Eddie Gordo equivalent in Smash? Who do I need to pick? Who's gonna help me out in this way? So after a bunch of discussion, he kind of weighed some other points and pros and cons as well, and he eventually came up with Mario to be the right answer for who to play. How was the hotel? The hotel was good, other than the bed. The bed sucked. I like a firm bed, and this bed was really soft. It was like sinking in the middle. It was almost like it was like, I don't know, dude. It was like sleeping in a freaking half burrito or something, half taco. Okay. Did you know the soccer game was actually Metroid Prime? Nobody actually knew that, but I remember when I first played it, I was like, this is Metroid Prime, but I didn't really say anything, and nobody else really did either. We were kind of more just caught up in the moment of like, what is this game? How do you play it? Like, we really had to figure out, because we got to play it for maybe like 30 minutes tops, and that was taking turns. We had to rotate, because there's 16 of us and only 3 people could play it, or 6 people could play at a time. So we had to rotate, and one of the things was broken. The R trigger wasn't working, so you couldn't do the gyro movement. So, at any point of the race, did you think to save the animals? Again, I referenced this in part 1, but I had a very brief, it was a milliframe, so it was 1,000th of a frame moment where I thought about it, but I did not hit the shine spark up to the top of the shaft, and at that point there was absolutely no way in hell that I was going to consider saving the animals. What did Nintendo do to make sure you didn't leak any secrets? They had us sign something, and they told us not to. What was the best meal you had while you were there, and where? What was it? It was at a place called Guisados. It was actually tacos, and I had some good meals too. Guisados. I'll show you guys a picture. Hold on. I didn't have all these pictures on my computer, so I'm just going to show it on my phone if I can pull it up. This place has tacos, and they make it's soft tacos, and they make them right there in front of you. Like, none of this stuff is pre-made at all. They make it right in front of you. It's freaking awesome. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. This always happens, but yeah. This, you probably can't see it very well, yeah, because it's on a cell phone, but those are the tacos at Guisado's. Trying to get it with less glare. There we go, that's kind of a better shot. Very good stuff. Very good stuff. When can we see the interviews you guys did? When I find out, you will find out. Did your girlfriend enjoy the event? I think so. She actually sat with DK28, who came for the event, and he was like explaining things to her, but she was like, what's happening? Like a lot of it, because she's not a gamer, so she doesn't play all these games. So like during Super Metroid, she's like, why is he doing, because I was running into Mother Brain, she's like, why is he doing that? He's gonna die, he's killing himself. But yeah, I think overall, I think that she found it exciting. Did you know Miyamoto was going to come out at the end? I had a feeling, because I mentioned this yesterday, but he was at the lunch. Like when we all had lunch, Miyamoto was in there, and it's like, dude, if he's here, he's obviously here for a reason. He's not just going to, you know, be having lunch with these people for no reason. Another story, though, that I didn't get to tell. This is when Miyamoto came out. I don't know if you guys got to see this or not, but after I had a front row view because I was on stage. We were all on stage at this point. And he kind of went to like to like give five and handshake people in the crowd. He was kind of like leaning down because the stage is like up here, and there's like all the people are down here, and they're like reaching up to high five him. As soon as he started, I've never seen this before, man. I mean, I guess if I'd been to like a concert like up in the front row or something, probably this would be something that you would see. But as soon as he started going, people just bum rushed. They were like literally running over each other, and it like a few people got hurt. And I was like, holy crap, dude. Like, I was like, yo, you guys need to take it easy, man. Like, chill. Like a few people got kind of, like, pushed into the stage and, like, probably hurt real bad. But, and then apparently afterwards, like, he said something like, I don't know if I should have done that. I could have gotten injured. Or something like that, dude. Miyamoto. I wish I had gotten to meet him. I didn't talk. Nobody wanted to interrupt him during lunch, man. I mean, it would have been cool, but oh well. If you had a choice of a speedrunner to represent the community, who would it be? That's a tough question because I'm not sure if you're saying if you want like representing in terms of playing in the tournament or representing in terms of, you know, being the person that's the spokesperson or whatever. If it was somebody playing in the tournament, and this is just, I mean, this is because I'm a fan, obviously, but I would have liked Garrison because Garrison, obviously, he plays a lot of old school games. He's legend of Super Metroid. He's a great guy, and I would think that because he has experience in newer games, like he'll play Mario Kart 8, he plays new stuff like that. That he would have had a good chance, and he's just played a lot of different games. I thought he would really represent it well in terms of gameplay, and you know, if we were talking about strictly just somebody as like an ambassador to speak on behalf of speedrunning or whatever, like that's a tougher choice. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one a little bit more before I answered. But if we're talking about who's playing in the tournament, I would definitely not mind having Garrison in there. Why did everyone keep going to the home menu during the games? I think it's like if you hit the trigger buttons, it goes to the home menu. I'm not sure. Like, I know if you hit some certain button, it goes, and it was just like, yeah, I don't know. What are the odds of buying the Wii U? They've gone up a lot, actually. I don't know what they cost, though. I'm sure as soon as I see the price tag, I'm going to be like, I don't know. I'm not so sure. Let's see. Did you meet anyone cool at E3 outside of NWC? You mean like besides Kanye? No, not really. Did you feel like Hungrybox / Reggie interaction was kind of impolite? Was kind of cringe for me. I didn't really get to watch that part, to be honest, so I don't know. How was Reggie in person? He seemed pretty cool, man. I don't know, dude. I high-fived him, man. That's it. I high-fived him, and then I did do this. I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I don't care. So we were backstage. Let me tell you something. You guys have seen the GDQ setup. You think there's a lot of wires and a lot of stuff going on there. They got nothing on this, dude. This is what's going on behind the scenes at the NWC. Oh, this is terrible. I'm gonna have to upload this picture and show it. Yeah, I'll have to upload this. I'll upload it, guys, but you'll see there. It is crazy. It was crazy back there, man. But I took that picture and Reggie was standing like right there, and I was like so worried he was gonna be like, "What are you doing?" But he didn't say anything. He was on his phone. No stories about Kevin Pereira. Sorry, man. I wanted to meet him, dude. The only story I have about Kevin Pereira is that he donated during my 2013 blindfolded Punch-Out run. And I think Golden was the one that read the donation off. So I know he knows who I am, but he probably forgot by now. How was the plane ride? Not that great. I played Nintendo on the way there. On the way back, it was a red eye, so kind of slept a little bit. Not really great sleep, not quality. Oh, that's interesting, Cassius. How was the food there? It was good. I mean, I went to some good places. I like to use Yelp a lot. I will not go to a place that's under 4 stars on Yelp, especially if I'm on like vacation like that. Like, I want to eat some good food, man. Did you have to play modern games as part of this change? Okay. Did having to play modern games as part of this change your opinion of them and or make you interested in playing them more? Yes, it did, Poexel. Actually, I enjoyed Splatoon. I actually think it's a fun game, and I was kind of surprised as I was like, this game's actually kind of fun. And especially Mario Maker, I think that game is awesome. So I'm definitely more open to playing new games than I was before, but again, the problem that I have is time constraints. The time constraints, I don't have enough time to actually, I'd have to choose between either speedrunning games, which I still want to get a few records. You guys know I'm still trying to get Punch-Out back, and I'm still trying to polish up that TMNT4 a little bit. If those two things were done and I was just kind of like for real retiring, which I've been trying to retire, but obviously this kind of pulled me away from that, then maybe I could go more casual and just play some of the newer games, because I think it would be fun. I would totally stream some Mario Maker. What was the practice room like? I'm not sure what you mean by the practice room. If you're talking about the green room, I mean, we didn't really get to practice. Like, it was just kind of, it was what it was. This whole memory on par with GDQ blindfolded run. It was different, man. I can't compare those two. It was totally different. Like, I enjoyed this thoroughly, and I made it a point to make sure that I did that, because it's easy to get like caught up in this and it can just blow by so fast and you don't even know what happened, or you get too nervous and you don't get to enjoy it because your nerves are like taking over. So I really enjoyed this quite a bit. It was so fun to be a part of it. Like there was a point on stage where I'm just sitting there thinking, like, is this real? It was surreal. Surreal experience. $300 for the Wii U, okay. How did it feel when they announced Super Metroid was going to be... I think we already talked about that. That was such a good feeling. That's like... I can't even make an analogy for how good it felt. It just felt freaking amazing. That's how it felt. Okay. Why is this not working anymore? Hello? Help. I broke my... Down button. Down button. You're not doing it. There we go. Oh, am I at the end? I was at the end, that's why. I was like, down button's broken, dude. If you could change one thing about the format of the tourney, what would it be? That's a good question. I would say... One thing about the format of the tourney, what would it be? Let me come back to that one. I gotta think about that a little more. Did you practice any random games prior to the event? Yes, I did. I practiced Punch-Out Wii. Of the GIFs, Photoshops that people made of your reaction to the Super Metroid announcement, which did you like the best? I have only seen, I think, maybe one or two of them. I don't know if there's more. I've seen the one that Solid Frog made where I was doing the picture where I was like this, and he put it into the... he put it in the actual room. He photoshopped it in, and then I saw the other one where it's my Twitter picture, but my face is like, or no, the face is like smiling, but then the face is like sad when it find out what the controllers are. What were your plans for Smash if you made it? I answered that already, Darkwing, but basically I was gonna play Mario, based on Cosmo's advice. I didn't get to meet Justin Flynn, Tolby. Yeah, I guess that's one thing, Ryu versus Jackie. That's a good point. Maybe that's what I would change about the format. Some of the contestants not having to play any retro games. That's a good point. I think they maybe could have shored that up a little bit and had everybody at least get to play one retro game, possibly. Yes, the Fish Fan. We did have to sign some stuff for Nintendo. Because obviously we had access to information that people didn't have. Corpse, I actually didn't get to go around E3 a lot. I went there, I did the Mario Maker thing, I did the Treehouse thing, and then that was pretty much it. I spent maybe just a couple hours there. I didn't really have time. We had other plans that we were trying to do. What's your favorite food? Oh boy. So many foods to choose from. I don't even know. I mean, I love a really good steak, I'll say that. Are you going to wear your NWC shirt when you're out in public? No. Absolutely not. Maybe if I was at like a GDQ or something like that, where it's, you know, people would get that I'm kind of making a joke, then, you know, like I'm making fun of myself, then yeah, I would do it. How many games would have been more hype than Super Metroid for you if they were in the event? I guess Punch-Out. I think Punch-Out would probably fall in, because that's really the only one that could have been in my logic. Did you play in the arcade at the Santa Monica Pier? Yes, I did, Rantron. In fact, I regrettably found out that speedrunners are in that area. I found out that Peaches is nearby there, and Checkers are also both nearby, and maybe somebody else even, I can't remember. But is there anything you regret not doing? I did a lot while I was there, dude. I mean, it was a limited time. I mean, maybe it would have been nice to go a little bit more around E3 and check some stuff out, but there's just too many lines, dude. Like, you're gonna have to spend the whole day there to play like a couple games. I'm not down for that. Luke, yes, Nintendo did cover the cost of taking us out there in the hotels, but only for the first 2 nights. If you wanted to stay longer than the competition, you had to pay on your own. What was your favorite part of the event? Hearing that bass line for Super Metroid, baby, that was that was the ultimate right there. Are you going to SGDQ? No, I'm not. Sadly, I had retired. This is a true story. Many of you know I had retired from speedrunning after AGDQ 2015, and I said that I was just going to play until I got the Punch-Out record, which I had been so close to getting the Punch-Out record so many times. It's almost like just the universe is rigged in a way that I can't get the record, even no matter how well I execute, it seems like. I didn't get to try the virtual reality stuff, no. If Punch-Out was in, I did have a plan. Depending on what the format was, if it was beat minor circuit, I was gonna close my eyes for Glass Joe. I was gonna do that, but that's it. That's about as far as I was gonna showboat because I knew I could still get a guaranteed 42 with my eyes closed, and that would have been cool. But after that, no, definitely not. Which round you didn't get to play in the competition you think you would have been best at? Zelda 1. Didn't get to play in Zelda